I'm not doing physical therapy, I'm doing car reviews. Tank located right there on the driver's side. It gets 27 city. What's up guys, this is Automotive Anonymous, and if you're new to my channel and I'm not doing physical therapy, I'm doing car reviews, truck reviews, and 0 to 60, stuff like that. If you are a returning viewer, thank you so much. I appreciate talking in the comments and seeing all of your support on my videos. What we have today is a 2023 Mazda CX-30 2.5S with the Preferred package, baby. It's the third of the 7 trim levels. It was generously borrowed by Goody Mazda in Southern Idaho, so I'll link it below because they're a good dealer. And we're gonna do a walk around, go through the specs, the initial driving impressions. Stay tuned for the 0 to 60 with the GPS, and the final thoughts to decide, is this worth your time and money? And if you're new to the channel, please consider liking, commenting, and subscribing to show your support while you're at it. Otherwise, we're gonna get right into it. So this deep crystal blue mica is a really cool offering. I've also done a turbo, a premium, and a carbon edition CX-30. I kind of like these, and so do a lot of other people. Mazda sells about 60,000 of them a year in the United States and over 180,000 of them globally. This model started in 2020, replacing the CX-3. It competes against other smaller crossovers like the Honda HR-V, the Kia Seltos, the Subaru Crosstrek, stuff like that. And they're very affordably priced. It's about 23 grand for a base. This one, with destination and the options it has, it's just under 30. And what you get with the Preferred is you get heated front seats, you get the 8-way driver adjustment, and you get the moonroof. But you guys might be wondering, where is the moonroof? Well, I'm assuming due to the global supply shortages, that's why you get a several $100 credit in replacing that on this specific example we have today. Otherwise, these are pretty cool in that they're 3,000 to 3,300 pounds, depending on if it's the turbo or non-turbo, and the all-wheel drive system. So that's about the same as 196 ladies, as can be seen here. They're about 14.5 feet long, 5 feet tall, 6 feet wide, and you have 6.9 inches of ground clearance. So it's pretty competitive against the Honda and the Toyota, but about 2 inches less than the Subaru Crosstrek. Gas tank located right there on the driver's side. It gets 27 city, 33 highway, so with a 12.7 gallon tank. You're looking at up to 420 miles of road tripping, baby. That's about 40 more than the turbo CX-30, if you were wondering. These have a 2, 15, 55, 18. The wheel looks really good, and the all-season tire does a phenomenal job driving through a little bit of snow to get here. It handles really well for what it is. Anyways, guys, let's hop inside. Now let's get out of this cold weather. On the driver door panel, you got some nice soft touch materials, and it looks really good. It is a very dark interior though, but you do have a finger slit through the grab handle. Piano black around the electronic controls, and nothing on the middle-sized speaker right there. Bottle holder and some extra snacks. What are you going to put in there? Comment below. Nothing on the door sill. It does have all-weather mats. They're not installed yet though. Rubberized pedals, hood release, a little bit of storage, memory seats, and then that's the options that this Preferred has. There are your power seat adjustments. The seats look really good. They actually remind me of the Teslas and how they look and how they feel. Kind of interesting. Let's hop inside. Fire it up with the push button start. Little CX-30. There you go. And the gauges on the CX-30, to me, they look timeless. I think they do a really good job. If we go through info, you can see what else it has to offer. The horn sounds pretty good. And the display, is it a touchscreen? It is not a touchscreen, but from this view, you have a lot at the tips of your fingers. You have physical buttons and controls, the dual climate, a lot of ventilation throughout. You have a nice storage compartment down here, your cup holders past the shifter, And then piano black, if you want to bring it over to manual mode, then you could bump the shifter and go through the 6 speeds. You also have sport mode you can turn on right there. Basically just downshifts, make it a little bit more aggressive with the transmission settings. And then an electronic parking brake, auto vehicle hold, if you have the navigation card, music, home, and the back button. We'll push the home. It does have Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, and because it's a Mazda, you get the scrolly dial, which is actually a really good feature. From my height, you can see the screen is out of the way of the hood, which is really nice. And then you have volume controls right there, or if you hold it, you could turn off the screen. Even if the screen's off though and you go into reverse, the camera pops up and actually looks pretty good, but the lines do not follow. So keep that in mind. Otherwise, you got the sliding center console armrest. So it's actually really nice, easy to get into a comfortable position. And then if we slide it back and lift it up, we have a split divider. So it can be a his and hers or hers and his, however you want to split it. You have the 12 volt and 2 USBs, and that's where you'd put the card for your navigation. It's actually pretty well sized for this class of vehicle, similar to the CX-30s I've reviewed, but shaped a little bit differently. Up top we have our lighting, some options there, and our sunglass holder. Nothing on the rear view mirror, but that's okay. Let's turn it off and sit behind herself. Chrome lining the windows, it looks really good, and then where the roof rails would be as well. Looking at the rear passenger door panel, it looks really good. You still get a handle, a little bit of your own piano black plastic, and your own door pocket, which is not huge, but it's pretty average for this class of vehicle. The seats look really good, and they're easy to drop. 60-40 split. Sitting behind herself for my driving position, this is where it gets snug. It does look really good, although the interior is very dark, and the lining up top is very light. So it's a very two-tone contrasted look. No map pocket. They don't want me driving from the back seat, being a backseat driver, I suppose. But I do get ventilation, and I do get 2 cup holders. And it's actually a pretty sturdy armrest. Let's check out the hatch and see what's back there. You can unlock the car from the remote, but there's no hatch lift. Down here you don't have the pin code or anything, but you do just have the one touch, and then you have to lift it yourself. With the seats up like this, you get about 20 cubic feet of storage, so that's pretty comparable to something like a Subaru Crosstrek. Or if you drop the seats, you just push them and drop them forward, you get about 45 cubic feet, or about 10 less than the Subaru Crosstrek, which I have a bunch of videos of. Anyways, there's the all-weather mats. They look really good. And then underneath you do have a temporary spare tire with all the tools that you need, and enough space to hide something good. Either recovery gear, snacks, emergency kit, maybe a teddy bear. Whatever you need to hide in the wheel well, you have that option. We're gonna slowly bring the hatch down and check out the passenger rear. Door panel again looks really good. The 20 split, identical. This is a top safety pick, plus you have child latches basically everywhere you need them. And this is where the backseat driver goes, because that's your single map pocket. Apple Maps, paper maps, you decide what you're bringing. You can see though, with the passenger seat obnoxiously far back, you better have some small legs if you're gonna be fitting back here. Legroom is really where this falls short. The trade-offs are just how compact and sporty it is. Really good handle. Door panel looks fantastic. The front mat, again, is not installed yet. Manual controls on the seat. Again, safety is a big concern. And then non-locking glove box, but it is a 2-stage setup with no USBs, no aux plug-in in there. Coming around to the front, we're gonna pop the hood. We're gonna see what the 2.5 SkyavtivG looks like. Under the hood, Mazda has a really good layout, but you can tell how much smaller the engine bay is in the CX-30 over the CX-5s I've reviewed, for how much taller that engine sticks out. Otherwise, we have some induction through the grille to the air filter, just a little bit of piping to the throttle body, to the intake side. The exhaust side is back there. You can see all the the heat shield manifold type of stuff. And then you have the battery with the positive terminal, the negative terminal, brake fluid reservoir, windshield washer, and the alternator right up there. The serpentine belt is on the passenger side because it is a traversely mounted kind of front wheel drive based bias engine placement. But otherwise, a lot of stuff is right up basically in your face, easy to get to if you had to. Mazda does a good design with these, and then you can see the oil, the dipstick and the oil fill 0W, full synthetic. Strap the hood. And then my favorite part, we are going to teleport inside, go for our initial driving impressions, and 0 to 60. Initial driving impressions of this Preferred CX-30 is that it feels really sporty. It feels really fun driving on the road, very nimble, very dynamic and agile for being, you know, an all-wheel drive little compact CUV. Visibility is kind of limited inside due to the thickness of the pillars, especially the D pillar in the back. But what does really well is the rear view mirror, because it's not a very long vehicle, you can see out very well. And then those side mirrors, while they look stylish from the exterior, they are actually really large. You get a really good view, especially knowing you have blind spot monitoring. It's not a concern, you very quickly adapt. Otherwise, this has about an 8.5 foot wheelbase, so it is a little bit shorter than some of the other CUVs, but it handles the road really well. It just kind of absorbs the bumps on at least the roads I've driven. Interior noise is dampened pretty well. Road and wind, you know, our road conditions aren't fantastic, but they're not at all bad. They're just basically an average country city road when we're driving on right now, and it sounds pretty good. Wind is only a few miles per hour today, so I can't test that exceptionally well, but I think Mazdas do a good job at keeping exterior noises where they belong, on the outside or the exterior. Otherwise, let's try the braking. I'll give it half pedal up here. Engagement point is basically right away. It doesn't bite, it doesn't jerk, it just feels linear. There is more pressure the further you push. I think it does a good job. I, again, really like that the screen on the Mazdas are out of the way. Because it's a simple layout, there's not a lot going on with the infotainment and entertainment. They're gonna age well. There's not a lot that's gonna show its age over time as things come in and out of style. I think gauges like this, which it's cool that they are electronic, they're not just physical any longer, but they're designed to look like that. They're designed really well. Armrest comfort is fantastic. Same thing with the center console, especially how you can have it slid forward. I like that. I do like that the cup holders are out of the way behind the shifter. They're out of the way on the CX-5 as well, but no one's gonna be slapping their arm into those or bumping them. The only limitation is if your cup's over probably 6 inches tall, you're gonna start running into, did I say 6 inches? I meant probably like 8 inches. If it's over 8 inches tall, it might start running into the dashboard a little bit. But otherwise, all the controls are simple, easy to use, and they're pretty big buttons. It's an easy, straightforward layout. Acceleration on this one is, well, let's have you decide. 45 roll. Weighing only around 3,000 pounds, that's actually pretty good for not being turboed. Check out my turbo video though if you're interested. It's pretty darn quick. If I didn't need the extra several inches of ground clearance that I have on my personal Outback Wilderness, or I didn't like the extra power from the turbo, or just the capacity that it offers, I probably would consider something like a turbo CX-30. But where we get 6 to 8 inches of snow sometimes, it's gonna be a no from me, dog. But that doesn't mean that's a no from you. If I was living in the city, if I had a smaller garage, I would absolutely consider something like this at 14.5 feet long. It is just so well placed on the road. It goes right where you want it to go. It fits right into parking spots. Kind of easier than you think it should for what this vehicle offers. Heated seats on this one do feel really good. I think Mazda does a great job with theirs because they almost get too hot where I want to turn them off, but I don't, because that's how much I love heated seats. Well guys, we're almost to our private road, so I'll show you what it does 0 to 60 today. 0 to 60, we are at 4,000 feet of elevation. Density altitude though is 3,300 feet, so this vehicle is down on power, 10 to 12%. I'll brake rev the 6-speed automatic. It is in sport mode, And I'll verbalize the true 0 to 60, and then the bottom left of the GPS graph to follow will show what it does without the foot of rollout. That's the way the magazine would rate it in better weather conditions at not this much altitude on a sticky drag strip. So it's probably not going to be a record setter in today's test, but this is real world testing. So let's see what it can do. Not bad given those circumstances we were in. 9.04, so a bit faster than the CX-5s that I've reviewed without the turbo. And that's similar to some of the competition in our area, so really not too bad. I will say that for being unloaded, for being where we live, even at altitude, that feels totally adequate. A 6-speed does a really good job. Shifting, it feels smooth. Final thoughts of the CX-30. Would you buy one? What are you comparing it to? Do you own one? What are your thoughts? Leave it all in the comments below. My final thoughts are they're really sporty. They do trade off a little bit of capacity and off-road capability compared to some of the competition, but in return you're getting a very refined, much more sporty feel than what a lot of the other class competitors have to offer. I think Mazda does a great job. Even though this isn't the turbo, it does feel adequately quick for most people because you're not going to be loading it down too much. You might not need the turbo, but if you've seen my turbo videos, it's quick. I love it. It's a really good offering by Mazda, especially at the price point. Or if you were to go with like a carbon edition trim level, having red leather interior, totally a sweet option. But as this sits, I think it's really good for under 30 grand. You get an all-wheel drive capable vehicle that gets good mileage, that can do a lot of things really well, and has a lot of upscale features as well as all those safety features. I work with people who have been in car accidents, and you don't want to be one of them. You want to have a safe car. Obviously, the larger the car, probably the better off you are, but something like this has so many active and passive abilities to keep you out of an accident. I think it's one that you should test drive, to say the least, and let me know in the comments what you decide. Otherwise, like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Have a wonderful week.